goes off into like the famous paragraph that, you know, defines how Scientology views being gay. So I'm reading that, and it's a lot different when you like are wrestling with those feelings.
So this one we're dealing with a double issue of, which seems unrelated, but they are tied together, which is Travolta and the quote, the homosexual issue in Scientology. The basic controversy is fairly simple, that L Ronn Hubbard, for whatever reason, was fairly anti-homosexual. Even though on paper Scientology does not obey that anymore, in practice they still do it. So even though on paper they're technically neutral, because if you go through the philosophy, L Ronn Hubbard had this very weird theory of how bodies work. So technically there's no gender identity because you're not really a body, you really have a spirit, right? That's really what you're tapping into, and that's what Scientology is about. It's kind of a spiritual technology, is the way L Ronn Hubbard conceived it. But again, back in the real world, it led to some pretty blatant anti-homosexuality. But I want to dive into a very fun video with Apostate Alex, where he was making fun of L Ronn. Well, that was a very fun little video. I would recommend people subscribe to Apostate. It's not typical of his content. He does much more kind of documentary stuff, which is also good. But I think there's more than laughter going on there. I think he's hinting at or implying the science fiction dilemma that Scientology has always had, that it didn't emerge as a philosophy. It started off with Dianetics, yes, technically, but L Ronn Hubbard is a science fiction writer, and that was really his original calling. But he wasn't making enough money, so he tried to convert the science fiction ideas into Scientology, a real religion. And when you get at the end of the road, when people ask me, well, what is Scientology? I'm not going to do the whole 5-minute explanation here, but basically it's a cosmology based on these science fiction ideas, which we have no evidence for. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel, but the basic thing is we have this cosmological war, and Scientologists are preparing us for this, I guess you want to call it, not alien invasion, but I guess these alien beings, these alien spirits in us, on Earth, and we're a part of this cosmological war, whether we like it or not. And for years and years after Travolta joined Scientology, he tried to get Battlefield Earth, one of the very bad novels that L Ronn tried to write. And I did try to read it, but it's not that good. It is a very silly basic story. I'm not going to review the movie here, but I will post a review eventually. But it just strikes me like, where is all this going? Well, I think, again, the dilemma is Travolta is very well known for being kind of openly bisexual. I don't think he's ever fully said it, but it's pretty obvious he is bisexual, at the very least. However, I think the dilemma is, in his eyes, that there is this utopian vision of Scientology, which L Ronn is definitely utopian, and Battlefield Earth is the expression of it. And to be fair to the film that he tried to create, the film cut out a lot of the novel. The novel is huge. It's like 1,000 pages. So maybe if they had tried to do the whole novel, it would have been more coherent, although if anybody wanted it, probably not. And L Ronn even tried to make the film himself, so they've really been obsessed with making this thing, because it does try to condense a lot of his ideas and what he wants as a utopian vision, but it's still just pretty lame and stupid. It's just like, okay, we gather the superheroes and attack the cosmological aliens, and I guess we get clear, we get liberated, and all that, and you're like, that's it? That's what this is all about? It just seems so strange. But if you are Travolta, from his perspective, if you honestly think Scientology will save the universe and save the world, well, you may be willing to look past a few issues. And to be fair, of course, he's not technically affected too much because he's too high in Scientology, but there are many lower ranking Scientologists who are now definitely admitting that, yeah, there's definitely a culture against homosexuals. And whether you like Scientology or not, saying that it works with L Ronn's vision is very questionable.
You more or less if you go through auditing, and we can help you with your career, and there's a lot of that sort of type of stuff that is happening. So it's just a very well-oiled machine of how they're trying to recruit new blood into Scientology.
Be a Scientologist?
In my opinion, no. Their view of life would be so at odds with each other. I don't think that